Welcome. Today is Tuesday, September 19th. My, how time flies. I am Stuart, your host with the most, and we're going to talk business coaching today. A lot to dig into, but first a few of the comments and questions here. Yes, Patty agrees. Habibi, which is the Lebanese restaurant at the Grand at Moon Palace. I have just returned from there. So Hans, you were close. You said Cozumel, and that's, a stone's throw away. In any case, Palace Resorts is a client of mine. Have I seen any of you at any of their annual conferences? I probably have. This year will be my fourth year being invited back, which I'm very grateful to Frank Corzo and the team. And this time, we came up with a great idea. It was supposed to be top secret, but I can't keep secrets. Of course, they opened up the resort within a resort. They have the gargantuan, tremendous resort called Moon Palace, Cancun, right? Which is pretty awesome. And they opened up the Grand at Moon Palace. And obviously, Patty, you've been there. And while I was down there, I did a couple of Facebook posts and a live video too. There were plenty of Asians who said, yeah, been there, love it, it's great. And I happen to love Lebanese food and that kind of food. And I'll show you a picture. Hold on. I'm going to show you a picture. Let's just go there now. Hold on. We'll get back to that in a second. So there I am doing the video shoot. That's in the Peruvian restaurant. Man, it was like I was treated like a celebrity. These people are so awesome. So they brought me down there to videotape me eating the food, doing the activities, meeting the people, having a great time, showcasing the resort. The video footage is going to be shown at the big international conference, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, which will be at Moon Palace, Jamaica. And so lucky me, man. I just ate, had a great time, sampled all kinds of tequila and mezcal. I never had mezcal before, but there's my picture. Patty, he's the executive chef. Juan Carlos is the executive chef of all the restaurants at Moon Palace. This guy is so nice, so cool. His roots are Lebanese, so we made baba ganoush, we made tabbouleh, we made hummus from scratch together. In fact, we had a hummus competition, so it was so cool. Why am I sharing this? Why am I showing this? For a couple of reasons. Number one, just because we're friends. I'm letting you know I love my job. Right? I love what I do, and I'm very grateful. Number two, I am going back to the Grand at Moon Palace for the Nexion Group Sales Summit. If you need me to check out anything for you, if you have a wedding group or whatever, let me know. I'm happy to report back to you. I'm also going to Moon Palace, Jamaica, of course, for the Palace Resorts International Conference. So use me if I can help in any way. That's why I tell you. Plus, I tell you this because when you travel, and I know most of you do this, are you taking pictures? Are you taking videos? Are you doing Facebook Live video and showing off where you are? I think most of you do it, but sometimes I hear a lot of you say, oh, I'm shy. I don't know how to use the live video. Well, just do it, man. We did it. We're doing live, right? I was with the chef, and it's kind of intimidating because you're live, and so if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see me going, "Oh, we're on." That's okay. And then the Wi-Fi was weak, so we lost it. So I just recorded a video. It's okay. Just go with it. Just show people where you are and what you're doing. I want to go back up here for a second because there's something I want to show you before we dig in here. These are, and by the way, we have tons of stuff to talk about. We have, Hans wants to talk about surveys, so I've written down all kinds of survey things that came to mind, and I promise you I'm going to add this into boot camp, and I'm also going to try to get a survey expert. I tried to get a jot form expert in, Lena, right, Lena? That was a big discussion point in Travel Agent Hacks. So far, no good. I'm working on it. I never give up. But we'll talk about that. Plus, I have some stuff here to talk about from Sam. She has a great question about when you have clients, special clients, if it's an anniversary, a special occasion, do you call the hotel? Do you call the group? Do you ask if they do anything free? Or if there's anything you do for a fee, or do you have an expectation they will do something? So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit about Karen's issue with a group she had blocked on a river cruise that she made a bunch of sales, went to go book it with a cruise line, and guess what? it was sold out. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Thank you, everybody on Facebook who wants to have more special expert guests in the studio with me. You gave me some great suggestions, and I'm already working on it. Many of these people I know. And we do have Jeff from Classic Vacations. Who knows Jeff? His name came up a bunch of times. I used to work with Jeff when we both worked at Costa Cruises when I was a DSM many, many years ago before I was gray. And so Jeff said, yeah, man, count me in. So Jeff's going to be on the business coaching session, which is going to be October 5th. Okay, let me just bring this to you because, you know, to kind of get warmed up here, as I see things and I go through everyday life as a consumer, I learn so much, and I always forget to share it with you guys, so I want to share it now. What we're going to call these, I'm going to show you two, what I call opportunity lost. Opportunity lost. Go back and think about your business and everything you do in life every day. Are there opportunities lost for you to promote your brand, to promote yourself? I guarantee you there are. We just don't think of them. So this is a picture of a dry cleaners. It's local here in Memphis. And I just parked here, and right next door was a Starbucks, a big Starbucks. And I was like, really? You put this sign up that it's parking only for cleaners, all others would be towed. Man, that's not leaving a good taste in my mouth. That's pretty nasty. How do they know I didn't drop off a shirt and went to get a coffee? How do they know? Well, you know what? Here's what, if I owned that business, okay, I would have put a sign saying, Starbucks customers are welcome to park here. And if you spill coffee on your shirt, come in and we'll clean it. You see what I'm saying? Opportunity lost. Now, to end this discussion, they really lost the opportunity because Starbucks closed their next door office or store, and they moved to another building. So nobody will ever, ever, ever need to park there ever again. Opportunity lost. Here's the other one I want to show you, which we just saw on Saturday. We have a lot of festivals that you probably have in your towns and your cities as well. This was at the Cooper Young Festival, which is in Midtown, a place where we love going, love hanging out, and I had like 130,000 people here on these streets, and it was awesome. Everybody was taking pictures of this sign, which was next to like a restaurant-type bar. Free beer, topless waitresses, and false advertising. I took a picture of it too because it's cute, it's adorable. People were taking pictures of it like crazy. Where's the opportunity lost, my friends? The opportunity lost is there's no logo on the sign. So we have all these local people posting this on Facebook. Why else would they be taking a picture of it? They're going to share it with friends on Instagram or whatever. And that bar restaurant, I don't even remember the name of it myself, could have had thousands, $10,000 worth of free advertising if only their logo was there with their website. Opportunity lost, my friend. So I just wanted to start off and share and inspire you that, hey, is there an opportunity that you've been missing out on? Maximize every opportunity. All right, let's go check the boards here, and then we're going to start digging in. Thanks for letting me share. Patty says, so jealous, even my picky eater at Habibi. Yeah, it's just great. It's made so fresh. I even went there for breakfast at the Lebanese restaurant, and it was outstanding. Lena said, we'll get there, Stuart. Indeed, absolutely. You got to go there. You got to get there. It's fantastic. And Nancy said, and Nolan. What about Nolan? The news about Nolan. Is that what you're referring to, Nancy? Hey, Nancy, you're back from your trip? Welcome back. How was your trip? Nancy travels all the time. I'm on her email letter list, newsletter list, and it's awesome. She shows pictures of Nancy and all of her guests, her clients, having a great time. Nancy's newsletters are great. You should get on Nancy's list. And Hans, you sent me this magnificent brochure. Hey guys, send me stuff of what you sent to your clients. It's beautiful. And guess what? Look, is a handsome picture of Hans. Show your beautiful smiling face, having a good time. Okay? People want to see you, especially if they don't know you and don't live or book local to you. Okay. All right, so Nancy didn't answer that right away. That's okay. So we're going to dig in with the first. Let's dig in right to surveys right away. All right, and then we're going to get to these other issues. But telling you now, folks, we got a lot going on here. So if there's something specific you want to share, a failure, a success, if there's a question you have, type it in right now. I don't see anybody else. What happened here? We didn't lose connection, did we? You still there? We're still together? Did I put you to sleep already? Goodness gracious. No, I don't think so. It's weird because normally the questions just file in. I sure hope the connection is still good. All right, so we're going to start talking about surveys. Still here. All right, just want to make sure. Thank you, Hans. So now the thing is, let's talk surveys. Now, we are inundated with surveys as consumers right now. Do you agree with that? Of course you do. Because whenever I make a purchase, whether it's on Amazon or any website, any place I go, including just coming back from the resort naturally, I get an email. How do we do? When I make a phone call, am I on the phone with the airlines or whoever it is, would you hang on the phone for a one-question survey? By the way, that's the best. Delta, I'm not a big fan of the airlines, but they have the best survey of all, the one-question survey, which is, the last service person you talk to, would you hire them if you run a customer service department? Right? I've shared that with you before. It's awesome. It's simply yes or no. So the challenge, friends, is that we must be doing surveys for a variety of reasons, which we'll get to in a second, but we have to be very creative, very careful that we aren't just a part of the clutter, the survey clutter. Why do we need to put surveys out there? Because, number one, not necessarily in this order, we want to learn. We truly want to learn from our clients what's on your mind, what are you thinking? And if you're a really smart business person, as we've talked before about qualifying, these surveys are qualifying questions. It will help you create the best product possible. So to think that now I'm not going to ask because I don't want to know is a big mistake. We should be asking, what do you want? What do you need? What turns you on? What turns you off? Because you will learn something and it will help, even though you may have a great idea of the kind of trip, the kind of product you want to produce. I guarantee you'll have a takeaway. Number two reason why is because we want to begin engaging clients, which is going to lead me to the first tip. We want to engage clients so that they feel like they're a part of it. Now, I was tooling around and I saw this great quote on SurveyMonkey, which is a tool you can use. There's a lot of tools out there. And it says a great survey is like a great conversation. Have you heard that? Write that down, please. A great survey is like a great conversation. And we may not have ever thought of a survey like that before, because half the surveys we take, right, are not conversations. They're just questions. Man, when I bring my car in for service at the dealer, you know, it's a 3-page survey, and it's hardcore. It's serious stuff. It's not a conversation. But I do it because I really like them. They bend over backwards for me. They've been so kind to me. I drive up the car, and they come outside to meet me. They wash the car. They give me fresh coffee. So I do it, even though I don't have time to do it. It's not a conversation. But we're in the business of very, very, very personal relationships, so it has to be a conversation. So here's my question to you, okay? Number one rule, and I've already said a few gems, I think. I hope that it should be a conversation. But don't ask anything that you wouldn't ask if it was a live conversation. So if you're writing out your survey questions, make sure it's a question that you would ask if you and I were sitting together. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What excites you most? You know, so make sure it's not some really concrete, in-the-box question that just doesn't feel natural. So make sure your questions are conversational. Number two, I am a big believer, and these are not necessarily in order. I believe that if you're any bit salesy, if I'm taking your survey and I'm feeling like, geez, if I answer this, I'm going to be obligated to buy because I've answered this. So if you ask me a question, which will you do? Which will you buy? What do you want? I'm going to feel like you're qualifying me to a level where I'm obligating myself to buy. I'm not going to do it because I'm not so sure I'm going to go. Right? So I prefer questions, but setting it up like this, like, will you, where is it? Will you help me? Or I am trying to put together, because this is part of the group launch sequence, right? This is early. This is stage one, the survey. Will you help me pick the best? Or your input will help me. Will you help me create? So you want to, at the opening sentence, you want to ask questions and to tell them why you're asking these questions. Because if you've already planned the trip, then people are going to feel tricked. So have a conversation. Tell them why you need their help sincerely. And next, you should also say that you will be sharing the results. So you want to gingerly and gently say, hey, it should only take a minute. If you can get this to me by Tuesday the 4th, I will share the results on Thursday the 6th. People will like to see what you're doing with this, which you've already told them. You are helping them. They are helping you to create something special so you don't miss anything. You want to get their ideas. And you're going to share the results. And those people who still hesitate, who don't have time, who don't believe you, who feel obligated, you're going to still share those results with them so they see, huh, this guy was legit. He's asking legit questions. These are results. Fine. I'll do the next round, which leads me to the next tip. Do it in rounds. This is round one. This is round two. Because, friends, if the survey's too long, I don't have time. Do you? No. So the first part could be about where do you want to go? The second one could be about what activities are most important to you. All right? And the next one could be about food. So I like sectionalizing the surveys based on the category, the information you need. It's short and sweet. Next tip. I'm a big believer in short questions and one question surveys, which you've heard me say. I love multiple choice. So if your question is, tell me what are the activities that sound, don't say that you never want to say that you'd be most interested in, because that's going to scare me. What are the activities that sound the most exciting, that are things we don't normally get to do at home that would be fun to do away? I mean, never say you, okay? And then list all the activities, and you want to put, just click all that apply. So there's no limit. I can put snorkeling. I could put zip lining. I can put cooking lessons. Okay? Again, not necessarily in this order. I love, at the very end, leaving a free text box. Any other comments? Any other suggestions? Please share. And it's not required, naturally, because sometimes you're going to get a comment, something you may not have even thought of. And you want to take that and use that. It's information you need. Let me stop just for a second, see if we've had any comments or questions here. Oh, Karen says, not asleep making notes. Good. Are we good so far? Are you liking this stuff? Let me know. Because nobody's typing, and that's good or bad. Hopefully it's good that you're finding this stuff interesting. Okay. If possible, in the opening letter, tell them why you picked them. Let's say I'm on your client list, or I'm part of this group, and you're doing the group launch sequence, and this is the survey. Why did you pick me? Why are you coming to me? Stuart, you're a member of Joe's Wine Club, which means you probably love wine as much, if not more, than me. I'm thinking of crafting a really cool wine tasting event, and your input will help me create something very special. I don't want to miss anything that people might want, that folks might expect from this kind of an experience. Will you help me? I'd be grateful. Your input will help me create the best. You see, so also tell me why you've picked me. So I feel a little closer that this was not a random pick. You're not mailing this out to 1 million people. That note, of course, in the email, if you're doing an email blast with the survey, make sure my name is on it, Dear Stuart. Now, I know, because I'm in the business, and most of you guys know, when you get an email that has your name on it, nobody sat there and typed your name out, but it's nice when your name is on it, isn't it? When I do my emails to you guys, I normally don't do that. I could do that. I should do that, but you know it's coming from a database, and I love you, whether I call you by your name or not. I hope you know that. Okay. Another way of asking a question is, because you really don't want a yes or no. It's very limiting, unless that question begs for it. Like, for instance, instead of a yes or no, if you want to talk about a pre or post option, let's say it's a post option, how many days would be important to explore Prague after the cruise, right? And choice A could be 0. Choice B could be 1 to 3, and then 4 to 6. I think yes or no, unless it's a specific situation, is very limiting. It's better to get more input and feedback. Another type of question is a validation question. Would you agree? And again, go back to the conversation you're having with that client. Would you agree that having a private dinner with a chef, a local chef, is important, as an important part of the wine tasting? And instead of saying yes or no, you can put totally agree, somewhat agree, don't agree. Things like that. Don't make it too complicated with a number system. Just make it simple. But those are easy questions for me to answer, friends, when it's sort of a validation question. And you can even put yourself into it. Say, I love mixing my own Zinfandels at wine tasting. Is this something that you feel? Now again, I said the word you. Always try to remove the word you. That just take it out. That would be a fun part of a tour of the wine cellars of Germany, whatever. Somewhat agree, strongly agree. Things like that. So I love those kinds of valid questions. Another thing I want to mention to you, and how many of you, tell me, type, and just say yes if you do. How many of you are using video on your website, on Facebook, on anything? How many of you are using video? Period. I just want to know, because you need to. And I think it's wonderful if you're sending out an email that, you can, it's not really an embed, but you can click it and the video will open. Or even better, friends, you can send your letter, a couple of paragraphs telling them why you picked them, what information you need and why, because you want, hey, can you help me? Click here for the one question survey and a welcome video. Now, I know you may lose people by not clicking, But if you can bring them to your website, your web page, and there's a video up top, and you know you guys are in boot camp. There's a video at the top of every page, just about every page, right? Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. I believe people want to see your beautiful smiling face. It gives you more authenticity, and it doesn't have to be crazy professional. Just fun, man, just fun. Say, hi, I'm Stuart, and thanks for clicking over here. It's going to take a minute. Your help is really important to me. I want to do this right. Thanks for your input. If you have any other comments, questions, or suggestions, look down and you will see my email address, even my cell phone. Thanks, and if you can fill this out by the 5th, I will share the results on the 7th. That's it. Short and sweet. Don't go nuts. Don't go crazy. Let's see if we have any. Okay, we're getting some questions here. Marnie says, yes, you use video, Marnie, right? Lori says, can you repeat how you worded the question again about activities? Oh, not using you. Yeah, okay, about activities. Let's just say it's a Caribbean cruise. We'll just go with something with simple. Just say, what activities do we rarely get to do at home, but would be lots of fun to do on Caribbean islands? Just like that. Remember, Lori, conversational. What stuff don't we do home that would be a lot of fun to do in the Caribbean? You know, conversational. And you can probably even make it more conversational. You know, the more you think about it and just reword it and read it out loud. And then you want to list 10 or even 12 and make sure, click all that apply. And it's okay, friends, listen to this very carefully, using an adjective to describe the activity. Why? Because if you just say volleyball, that is the feature. Very good. But if you say competitive beach volleyball, well, that's the benefit, right? It's competitive, which means, you know, and maybe you're dealing with people who are sports type people and they would like that word. I'm just using an example. But also beach is an adjective. It's a descriptor. Don't just say the feature. And maybe it could be, if it's fine dining, don't just say fine dining. Just say fine dining with a local flair. Opportunity to meet local chefs. So it doesn't need to be one word response. Just like you would never in your marketing material say superior balcony deluxe stateroom 180 square feet, you know, private balcony. Boring. You would say round table, 2 lounge chairs, private balcony, order breakfast at night, have champagne, strawberries. You know what I'm saying? You need to describe it. This is the business you're in, friends. You're not in the fact business. You're in the fun business. I'll say it again. You're in the fun business, not the fact business. So, Lori, did that answer your question? And again, you may be saying, well, why can't I use the word you? What activities would you want to do? Here's what happens. It's a psychological thing. I really am convinced that when I see the word you, then I'm going to obligate myself that, geez, if I answer this, that means I got to do it. Does that make sense? Yeah, and it could just be, what are fun things to do? I hope that makes sense. Hans says, great info. Thanks, Judy. You bet, my friend. Judy says, that would be great. I'm building a new website, and this may be a good way to get people involved. Yes. That's what surveys do. I said it before. You get them involved. Not only do you get great feedback, but you're engaging them. You're setting expectations. And I didn't mention this before. Let me mention this now, why surveys are great. People feel like they've been a part of the planning process. And you can even say that. Be a part of the planning process. help me, so I don't want to miss anything. So whoever comes on this trip is going to have a great time. No obligation, no salesy. And I think right on the money, Judy. I agree. And you can have it right on your website, even if it's not for a specific group. Linda says so Laura, you use video? Linda, you use video, but very limited. All right, well, I encourage you to use more. Nancy says, Videolicious. Oh my goodness. Videolicious is an app that helps make easy promo videos. Did you get that, everybody? Videolicious. Make sure we put that in Facebook after so everybody check it out. I'm going to check it out too. Question, how far ahead should you start posting a promo video? My New Hampshire Highland Games tour video gathered tons of interest and was shared by the venue and events, but no one signed up. Well, the reason for nobody signing up, it could be a myriad of reasons, obviously, Nancy, we know that. And you can go back to the group viability test where we talk about the product, the date, the cost, the affinity. Was the affinity strong enough? So there's those 10 key reasons why, because if any one of those 10 don't pass, then it could fail. We know that. It could be the group leader. It could be a myriad of reasons. The good news is you got a lot of takes on the video. You got a lot of views. So did the video connect it? Did it set it up? What was the purpose of the video? I don't know. I would love to see it. But your key question here was how far ahead should you post a promo video? And if it's for a group, I always go back to the group launch sequence, my friends. Always. Okay, and the survey is the very first part. The survey is the very first part because, again, you want to engage. You're planting a little bit of a seed, and you're gathering information. You're beginning to engage. Whether they complete the survey or not, you're getting the message out without selling anything. And then you want to do the whisper campaign. And frankly, I think you can start the whisper campaign with the video, Nancy. Why not? Say, hi, I'm Nancy, and we're planning something really big for March of 2018. Shh, I can't give you many details yet because we're really hard at work. I've got a team of people working on something that's never been done before, and I've got to tell you, we've got such great feedback from our survey questions that we've been asking of you over the past couple of weeks that, man, we made some big changes, and you're going to love it. But that's all I can tell you right now. Thanks. Please click here or add your email address, and we'll just send you the email when we're ready to make the next announcement. Stuff like that. So, and I've already told you, it's never too early to start promoting a group. Never. Especially if the length of the trip is longer, if the cost of the trip is higher. I started promoting my river cruise group almost 2 full years prior. And you can never go too early. Lori says, yes, cool. And Nancy shared the URL, which is great. And I will repost this URL. Now, you guys can't see it. Isn't that a bummer? You guys can't see the questions that other people are posting. I don't know why. And I will repost this in Facebook. So, Nancy, thank you for sharing. Okay. Now, surveys. Before we move on, tell me, do you have another question about surveys? Do you not? Tell me, tell me, tell me. But I am remaking that pledge to you to bring more content, more steps. I will put all this stuff in writing too, at the very least as a PDF. Best to personalize different parts. Yep, I think I got all this down. And remember, the most important thing is a great survey is like a great conversation, which I really think is great. And would you ask those questions if we're having a conversation, even though you can't use you? I think it's too personal. All right, so tell me if we're moving on, if you've got another subject, or we're done with survey. We're done? All right, I'm taking a sip of coffee. We're a little past the halfway mark. Hang on there. Good coffee. By the way, will I see anybody at the upcoming events that I'm training at? I'm also going to be on Harmony of the Seas for the Dream Vacations, Cruise One, Cruises Inc. Conference. Will I see anybody at these upcoming events? I hope so. That would be super cool. Okay. Lena, are you still on? Lena, you had posted a question on Facebook, and it got no responses because I got to believe nobody had an answer. I didn't. And it was about insurance with Allianz, with Air, that there was a change and there was a higher, the ticket price went up, and you went back to the insurance company to change, but it was too late. You cannot change it. What do you do? How does that work? I don't remember the exact question, but I didn't know if you got an answer, if you want to share that, or if anybody else wanted to take that on. And while you guys are typing in, I'm going to go to the next one, which, Danielle, are you on? A new boot camper, Danielle. Danielle, is this your first time in the Ask Stuart Hour? Forgive me if I asked you this 2 weeks ago, but you know, it doesn't always click up top here. But Danielle, you posted in Facebook about adding another agent. I'm sorry, that if you have a group and another agent has a client that wants to book into your group, how does it work? Or if you have a client that you know would love participating in the group, but it's not your group, it's another agent's group. Okay, so I don't know if Danielle, if you're still on. Lena's here. Okay, Lena, we're going to come back to your question in just a second. I just want to handle Danielle's, and Lena, thank you. You responded to Danielle's question as well, and that was great because sometimes I don't really get into the nitty-gritty of your relationship, your contractual obligations with hosts or with franchises or with consortia. You know, so I appreciate you giving us that. Make sure you can do that. Now, clearly, if it's your primary business to get other agents, then you're almost becoming a host in and of yourself, and right, and you've got to check with your host or with your franchise if you're allowed to do that, so forth. Okay, but we're just talking plain and simple, and I'm a big proponent, a big advocate of that. I think if you guys have opportunities with groups, post them on Facebook in our private group or other places, because unless it's a family reunion, unless it's a specific organization or a specific association where outsiders are not welcome, right? If it's a club, if it's a hobby, then if it's a charitable event where the people don't know each other, as long as the affinity is that they have the common interest, then why not open it up to other agents to sell into? And you just work it out. And I know commissions sometimes can get complicated because then you have to deal with the non-commissionals, blah, blah, blah. But just figure it out, guys. Figure it out. And so you make a little less on that booking because you're sharing in that. But guess what's happened here, friends? That costs you nothing in marketing, right? The acquisition cost is really low because you're being handed a client you would not have had before, that you probably may have had to sell to, would have had a higher acquisition cost, but you've been given it. So consider it a marketing cost, and you're making that agent and their client very happy. And as I posted on Facebook too, of course, you want to make sure and make this promise to the agent: hey, listen, I'm not going to put them on my mailing list. However, this group, this knitting cruise goes every year. Can they be on that list? And if they book again, you will always get the credit for it. You got to work those things out, because just as if you were booking into somebody else's group, you would want to protect it's your client. Now, nobody owns a client. They're free to do and choose and book with whoever they want. I'm just saying that that's good to have that conversation and have that open relationship. Let's just see if there's anything else posted here. Okay, Lena, now this was about having a late change, in this case airfare. Can you go back and change the insurance to cover it? Yes, apparently you cannot amend a policy after trip has started. And there you go. All written in the tiny, tiny fine print of your insurance contract. And it may vary. Remember, we had Bonnie on here from Chubb, and it was a great session. And Bonnie kept reiterating, hey, these are our policies. And she used to work for Travel Guard, and she didn't, you know, she didn't say who had what policies, but she did remind us that every company has different policies. It's very important to know who we're working with. And in Lena, in this case, whether it's Allianz or any insurance company would be the same. Maybe there could be a rider, an amendment, additional insurance purchased. I don't know. But it was good that you looked into it and had a report back. Hey, listen, should there be an issue, we're only covered up to this much, so the client knows, because they may just make an assumption that they're going to be covered. Okay, let me dive into here. Okay, this is from Sam. Now, I know Sam is in Ireland right now, but this was a great question. Hey, everybody, I really want to hear your feedback on here first, and then I'm going to give you my 2 cents, because having worked on the supplier side as well, and also when I've done groups as well, I always ask for these kinds of things. And you're probably saying, well, what is he talking about? Here we go. So this is Sam at Travel Good Company. Have you ever called a resort hotel and specifically asked for a small gesture in kind for your client, like a free appetizer, free dessert, something like that, for a couple celebrating their anniversary or birthday, something special, only to find that nothing was done for them at all? So the first part of that is that, of course, if that resort promises something and they don't deliver, that's a problem. And sometimes you don't really know if they delivered or not. Sometimes the client doesn't tell you if they got that freebie, that little special gift, and you can ask, and if the client says no, then they're going to be disappointed and you're going to be disappointed. Let me go on. Is there some protocol to this? How should you approach the hotel with such requests? Is it appropriate to direct them to provide something specific for your clients, or do you need to be specific in your request? For me, I always get in contact with the concierge shortly after I make a booking. I have several exchanges with them right up to the time of arrival. I ask for information about the hotel, the area, the room, dining, which is information now I imagine you guys do this too, that you would go back, and Sam does, to share it with the client to make sure they have everything they need. Let the concierge know that this is their first stay or visit to the city, if they're repeat guests or not. Sometimes there are loyalty benefits, friends. Very important that you ask all your clients, I'm sure you do, if they have part of this loyalty program, because there may be bennies and perks they may not be aware of that you can set up for them. They'll love you for that. And finally, I let my clients know that they're leaving the next day and very much looking forward to the stay, and wish them well, immerse them into the culture. And but she says here, I'll end it off here, I've never directed that my clients be provided with something specific, and she doesn't say if she tells the clients to expect something. So my super quick thoughts, as you guys are typing here, is that whether or not the hotel gives it free, an appetizer, a bottle of wine, flowers, make sure it's something that your clients would like. I've had this experience plenty of times where I'm on a cruise and somebody says, "Oh yeah, we got a free bottle of wine from our travel agent." I'm like, "Cool," and they're like, "Well, not really. It was a nice gesture, but." I'm like, "What's the but?" Well, we don't. It's very kind of them, but and she knew this, or he knew this, whatever. But it's a bottle of Red Zinfandel. We drink. We're wine snobs, so we're not even going to drink it. Or it's a bottle of red, and red gives us a headache. We can only drink white. And we got flowers for our room. My wife's got allergies like crazy. We had to change rooms. Nice gesture, but wah. Or a free dessert. But man, I'm diabetic. I can't eat these kind of. You see what I'm saying? What I'm getting at, friends? You've had these experiences. Know before you go. So whether you pay for it or the hotel offers to do it free, make sure it's something that client would like. It can't be one size fits all. So let me see if anybody posted before I keep talking more about this. Lena says, I currently have clients in the Maldives and Singapore, and I wrote a letter announcing clients to each hotel. From each, I received a nice letter and a promise of a free upgrade. I have not checked with clients specifically, but they have sent me numerous notes about how amazing everything was. A note can only help. I agree. So what Lena's saying, I don't know, do you guys do this? At the very least, do you reach out like Sam does to the concierge? Look, if it's a Hilton Garden Inn, unless they have a suite or a big group, I'm not sure. I don't know what they're going to do. But if it's a resort, naturally, then I think a conversation has to be had. And ask the question. It can't hurt. Do you do anything special for celebrations? Well, what kind of celebrations? Well, my guests, your guests, are celebrating their 50th, their 40th, whatever. It's a birthday. It's something special. Or this is a celebration. Whatever has been ill, and now they're coming. This is their first time away. Is there anything special that you can do? Ask the question, because you never know what they have in their pocket. And ask polite. Of course, ask sweet. You get more with honey than you do with vinegar. Of course, you guys know that. Everybody in boot camp, you guys are beautiful people. That's why you're here, and that's why I'm here. And if there's nothing they do complimentary, I guarantee you they will have some things that you can purchase. The great properties always have the add-ons, the value adds, the extras, the peripherals, because they make good money on it. I guarantee you they do. You guys know this. And they could probably email you the list, the PDF, or go online and see the list of extras. Now, if it's not a group and you don't have necessarily much negotiating power, if they're not part of the loyalty program, if it's their first time there, if they're not in a suite or high-level accommodations, you may not have the best negotiating power, but it's worth an ask. So you'll have to make a decision then. Do you spend the money? Is it worth it? Because it can go a long way. Now, be careful of upgrades. I'm going to check the boards again here, but be careful of upgrades, friends. Let me tell you why. And you could probably answer this. You know what's going to come to my mind. Again, what if the client hand-picked that room? What if the client said, I don't stay on the 4th floor ever. It's got to be floor 2. I don't know. On a cruise ship especially, some people get really aggravated about upgrades because I don't like being on the port or starboard side. I don't like being aft. I need to be, I hand-picked my stateroom. Can you put me back? No, this is an upgrade. Aren't you happy? No. And you know what they say, friends. No, what is it? No gift goes unpunished. Am I saying that right? No good gift. No, I can't think of it. You know what I'm saying. Somebody's probably going to think of it before me. That's it. Thank you, Sandy. No good deed goes unpunished. It's true. No good deed. Thanks, Lena. Right? So, even the upgrades, just make sure that if the supplier is saying, yeah, we'll give a best available, we don't know yet, make sure anything they could be upgraded to is going to be great. Now, a question about should you alert the client to this? Of course, we all love surprises. We believe in surprises. And having worked on the supplier side too, sometimes the surprise never takes place. Back in the day, folks would order wine or stuff for their clients on the ship, and sometimes it was not delivered, right? Familiar story, you've heard this before. And that's a bummer because you're all excited, you want to hear back, you want to get that big thank you. Oh, we got this. Oh, we got this. Thank you so much. And you never hear anything. And then when you tell them, they're like, no, we didn't get it. And I said this before, it's a big wah, wah, wah. You're disappointed, they're disappointed, the supplier lets you down. What are you going to do? There's nothing you could do at this point. Sometimes it's better giving them a heads up. Even if you just say, for Tuesday night's dinner, watch for a little surprise, a little something special. Don't build it up. And in this way, there's an expectation set. And I know it could come and backfire because if they don't get it, but maybe they'll communicate with you from the resort or from the ship. So yeah, there's a part of me that wants you to prep them, get them excited to make sure that it gets delivered. And there's a part of me that says you should not. Let it be a surprise. If it doesn't get delivered, well, what are you going to do? You move on. You don't say another word. You just get upset with the supplier. You have a conversation. You say, look, you let me down. Nothing's going to happen at that point, but you can't trust that supplier, potentially going forward. Any other thoughts on that? Anybody do any gifts? Because I know that, especially if a resort is not at full occupancy, then you've got a shot. I think it's worth the ask. Do you agree? And one thing you do not want to do, and then we're going to go to the next subject, You do not want to make a promise to a client about a possible upgrade, because if they don't get it, then they're disappointed. Hey, listen, you know, I put in for an upgrade, and there's no guarantees. We got a shot. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. But see, there's an expectation, there's an anticipation, and there's a good chance they won't get it, right? People get disappointed. I would never do that. Never do that. Unless there's a way it can be confirmed up front. So when they land, they'll turn on their phone and the text comes on, I've got great news. I got you an upgrade. And it's something they would love, of course. Or I've got a little surprise coming to you for Tuesday night's dinner. So they look for it, they watch for it. Okay? All right, we've got 7 minutes left, friends. Bring it, bring it, bring it. And I'm curious, because I want to make sure Sam posts this on Facebook too, to see what you do, your tactics, your strategies for asking for or securing special things. People love getting surprises. So, excuse me, all in all, I think it's a very good thing. Okay, I want to, let's, if nobody has anything else, then I'm going to dive right into this, which is about Karen. Now, listen, everybody, and tell me what you think. And I am going to use the actual cruise line too. And you know, I'm the biggest fan in the world of AMA Waterways. I really am. I know Christine, and I've done 3 river cruises. Just did my partial ship charter with them. And so this is the dilemma. Listen, just had a bit of a bad experience trying to put together a tulip cruise with AMA. I love my local sales manager and really wanted to beef up my sales. So that's wonderful, and I think it's great that if your sales manager of any company is showing you loyalty, give them loyalty, give them the business, because they want it, and they're already displaying loyalty to you. Loyalty works both ways. Signed the contract, put up the deposit, $500 deposit. The company created the flyers, did a direct mail, in this case to garden clubs, followed by an email, and they were ready to make 4 bookings, only to find out that the ship sold out. So let me just finish reading this first. I know the ships are small, they can sell out quickly, but it was disheartening. Had to go back to the clients, give them the bad news. And of course, there was a sailing the next day, but obviously it must have been a different ship, another tulip cruise, but they were not offering the same deal. Especially tulip time, those can tend to sell out fast, and to find a deal is hard to come by. And of course, the overall pricing were expensive, and the clients blamed the cruise line. They felt, and this is a quote, the cruise line was jerking them around, and that's not good. My guess is, and so Karen knew that I did my own cruise. She said, my guess is you had to deposit individual cabins to hold them, which can be a lot of money, and she wasn't interested in fronting that kind of money, and I understand. So it's a whole a mess. And she said, well, you know, why doesn't AMA or the lines owe a phone call to say, hey, the ship is starting to really sell. You got to make a move here. And even though they had a signed contract and a $500 deposit. Okay. So any thoughts? Go ahead and type away. But I have a lot of things to share here. And Nancy, you just posted something. I'm going to try my best to get to that as well. I appreciate it. So the situation is this, and every company you work with is going to be different. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that you can put a group deposit down with AMA, and you're basically locking in the rate, but you're not locking in specific staterooms naturally. And I think you can do this this applies to most of the big lines as well. But of course, you can potentially put up more to get specific staterooms blocked. Now, in my case, totally unfair, because that was a partial ship charter. I paid up front. Done. I own the cabins. That was it, whether I sell them or not. I owned them. When you're doing a group, there's always risk, and you have to read the fine print in the contracts. So this looks like to me that this was not necessarily it was a partial affinity cruise, because it was of garden clubs, but it wasn't. So I don't have a lot of details about it, and therefore it was. Listen, hey, it generated 4 bookings, which didn't end up going, but that's pretty darn cool. All right, but this doesn't sound like it's a true affinity group with a set group leader, and there wasn't the group launch sequence that was applied here. And for all fairness to Karen, who I love, she's brand new in boot camp. She hasn't even probably seen those videos just yet. because then probably would have started booking farther out. This is already April 18, friends. This is right around the corner. This is a river cruise. Expensive, a lot of days. So for a lot of reasons, this was set up to have potential issues, right? So close in, not a true affinity group. You don't know who's going to come up. They haven't done all the series of presentations. And of course, the money, it didn't make sense to put up money because it's an unknown, and you couldn't lock in specific cabins. And if we're coming from the supplier side, I can tell you, unfortunately, suppliers don't have time. They can't do it. They don't do it, usually, to call you, make an outbound campaign saying, hey, listen, it's selling, we're going to take space away. Now, that may be different with some of the bigger lines where they'll send you a notice, but all contracts, they have the right to take space back if it's not unsold at any time, right? Unless, of course, you've put up so much more money that protects particular cabins. But the issue is if a cabin doesn't have a name on it, especially, then they can take it back because they want to go with the sale. Let me, in defense of the suppliers, because I spent many years on the supplier side, the breakage rate on groups is huge. Huge. What is breakage, Stuart? Well, that's when a travel agent blocks 10 cabins and 3 go, or the whole thing gets canceled. Now, back in the day, I think it was about a 70% attrition. We called it attrition, breakage or attrition. So for every 10 cabins booked, 7 never got booked, went back to inventory. Well, what do you do if you're a cruise line, if you're a supplier? Do you stop taking other bids? It's really tough, friends. It's really tough. So Karen, this is a real tough one. It's really not their obligation. However, you know, some companies might do an outreach. You definitely want to read that fine print. What I would suggest in the future is you make just make it your business, to you or somebody in your team, make a weekly call. How's it looking? How's it looking? Find out who your group coordinator is and communicate by email, by phone, how we doing, how we looking. The other part of this is, and hey friends, we all know this, that whenever we give a quote out there, we always have to say space is limited and may sell out at any time without notice. And this couldn't be any truer, isn't that right? Unfortunately, Karen, and for all of us, we've experienced this, that once we put a price out there or it leaves our mouth, and a minute later it could be gone, it could be sold out. So people have to know that. Unless you've put up that much more cash, unless the contract is protecting you up to a specific date, so you know you own those cabins, you own that rate up to a specific date, and there's no other fine print that gives them the ability to take it away, or they can still do it. Trust me, they can. So we could spend a lot more time talking about that, and I do want to dive into this more, especially on the Facebook page, but I know Karen's not with us right now, but I do want to have that conversation live with everybody. Nancy, we're going to have to, this is escorting, and we've got 1 minute left. Let me see if we can do this. Here we go. Here we go. Regarding escorting, I just returned from Iceland with 12 others, a range of ability and ages. I had a comment afterwards that one friend of mine didn't feel included. She is a friend and a strong independent, had a great time. How do we make sure everyone feels part of the group? That's a great question. I want to spend time on that. So we're going to pick that up next time, but I'm going to put that on Facebook if that's okay, because I want to make sure I at least respond like this, and I think that's a very good point, because you don't want anybody coming back unhappy. I want some time to think about that. Lena said, what do you do when you don't really like your BDM? I have a supplier I really like. I would like to put together a group, and I feel like I'm a person who's pretty laid back and easygoing, but BDM and I just don't click. Will this affect my group? And Lena, it will affect your group. And I always say, hey man, don't do business with a company where that main person, you guys just don't get on, because it's just not going to feel good, not going to feel right. But at the end of the day, you may need to. So real quick on that one, it's either you sit down, you have a meeting, and you say, hey, listen, we got to clear the air here. I want you to know that I want to love you, and I want you to love me. What's standing in our way from working together here? Now, you can, of course, go to the extreme, which is not extreme, and you can call their manager and have a conversation, a frank conversation, saying, look, I'm not writing anything. They've never done anything wrong, but I'm not real comfortable in a relationship. Can we have a three-way get-together? Because it's unlikely, Lena, they're going to assign you to a different BDM. It's unlikely you're going to get to work directly with the director, let's say. But I want to take this up again also on Facebook. We are at time right now. 2 questions came in at the very, very end. Really good questions. I promise we won't miss. Hey, friends. Thank you so much for being here, my boot campers. We'll see you on October 5th, I think it is, with Jeff. And I'm going to keep bringing in guest experts. Tell me who you want to hear from, who you want to see. I'm so grateful you're here. And I want to wish anybody who's in the severe weather areas, whether it's wildfires, whether it's flooding, or whatever, that I'm just praying for a speedy recovery there, and that a sense of normalcy returns. And let's have patience with everybody, with all of our neighbors, friends. Have patience with all of our neighbors, because everyone's got a story. And we may think one thing and what's going on, and we may be wrong. With that, I bid you adieu. Happy sales.